It's rut and river.
Yes.
Correct.
R-U-T.
I rest my beard hair on it.
And then you know you're there.
Like a nice, gentle little pillow for my beard.
Right.
And then I'm all up in it.
Oh.
I'm like Kobe beef for sharks.
Can I ask you, what made you guys call me up about, well, this?
That's what tickles our fancy.
Exactly. Okay.
Thought the Rocky Mountains would be rockier.
John Denver is not accurate.
Man.
A guy like you, who has absolutely no clue, and I can hear it in your voice, that, I mean, you're a blank canvas. I mean, I can just start with you like from scratch.
You're going to tell me, a grown man, you're telling me what lure to use and how to fish?
You guys didn't snap your whopper plopper off either, though.
Sorry, I blew up over that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rut and River Pursuits podcast. Stoke up that fire, boys.
Sure did.
I am psyched.
We poked it early.
I'm excited
wait.
to be around the Sonic Campfire tonight because I got a guest for you fellas.
I bet you do.
Is that
You've been
right?
holding out.
I've been holding out. We've been talking
Well,
about.
who all's here?
Well, hold on. Man, holy buckets.
Go ahead, Ryan. Why don't you start off?
Well, I'm Ryan.
This is Dave.
I'm Will.
I'm Steve. And I'm excited to get
Again.
to get rolling here. I'm sorry. I can't help it. We've been talking about
Bless your heart.
deer hunting and waterfowl hunting for, I don't know.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Months.
We've been at shows.
And and I'm ready to get back into bass fishing.
Is that right?
That's right.
So what do you got for us if that's where you want to be?
Ooh, where do I start?
You're heading
Tonight,
south.
we're heading south to Muscle Shoals, Alabama. We've got
The Muscle Shoals.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's like, there's a lot of history down
A
there.
lot of swamp music.
A lot of
I heard
good,
that.
lot of good music.
the 2000 Bassmaster Angler of the Year. He's got 5 Bassmaster tournament wins. He was the first pro to sign on with the Major League Fishing Tour last year.
What?
Yeah. Founder of Profound Outdoors and the host of Timmy Horton Outdoors. Tim,
It's got to be Tim, right?
welcome to the show, bud.
Yeah, hey, after all that, and Tim. hey, glad to be here, guys.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Our pleasure.
It would have
Man.
been odd if it would have been somebody other than Timmy Horton.
No kidding.
Like, oh, this is Bill Dance. What?
Timmy Horton Outdoors.
I think the funny part to that was Timmy this, Timmy that, and then Tim. It's so funny that the Tim Horton donut deal. That was a huge saga with me on being able to use my name in marketing, and of course in social media. With what we do, the name is everything, and I couldn't do anything Tim Horton. So,
Oh, wow.
So you're not the
Timmy-
same guy at
Timmy-
all.
yeah. So Timmy gets thrown around a lot with the social media and the name of the show, but hey, when we're close, it's Tim. So I like.
But I warned these guys tonight.
I thought we were going to be talking about
I said,
donuts and
don't
coffee
bring up
and
the
ice
donuts and
hockey.
coffee. Don't even start. I'm sure he hears that a lot. But since you mentioned it, but
You started it, Tim.
Yeah. Hey, no, it's all good. We those guys. It's funny. We had a legal dispute on my name. I guess it was, oh my gosh, probably 15, 20 years ago.
oh man,
And but once their corporate folks found about it, they were great. It was just, I think, 2 lawyers picking a fight. You know how that can go. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
but yeah, it's all good. It's funny. I got a closet full of that stuff. Everybody from down south that goes up to the Northeast. There's these donut shops and coffee shops with your name everywhere. And I said, yeah, man, that's so cool. And I just put it in the closet with the rest of it.
Well, that secret's out now.
Yeah. Tim, I was following you all, I guess it was last week, down in Texas. And there's a story there to be told. And I'd love to hear from you about the last Major League Fishing tournament. What went on there?
Yeah, first of all, that Bass Pro Tour is just, and it's just such a cool deal as far as, knowing, and obviously we've been doing the Major League Fishing now for 6 years, several of us, but
Yeah.
the whole element of making that top 20, it's just such an intense deal. And then to make the top 10 going into the championship deal, such an intense deal. It's funny in bass fishing, in the history of our sport, obviously, and it should be, and that's what ours is, wrapped up on the final day, obviously, with the wind. We've seen what happened with Edwin and Jordan in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Edwin kind of ran away with it here this time. But, there's just this this energy that goes on each and every day of that cut spot, because you've got so many guys right there on the bubble of that cut, that it's just really cool. And Conroe was just, man, it was just a tough deal. We really hit it after they had a lot of rains, obviously with what's happened here in the Southeast, and it got really cold.
Yeah.
The week that we started practice, and cold muddy water is just a tough deal. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now you caught.
So you know muddy waters.
After last week, there's no doubt.
So you ended up the second day of that tournament. You caught what 24, 25 pounds or something like that. It was a pretty good day for you.
Yeah, it was. It just wasn't good enough. I needed one more there at the end.
Man, that was close.
Yeah, and this is how quick that deal goes. You know, I caught the next to last fish that I caught, and when I weighed it in, I was 9 ounces out of the cut, which obviously is just a squirrel bass.
Yeah.
And he puts it on the scales. He sends it in, and I'm getting my tackle re-rigged up, putting another soft plastic on, and about the time I make a cast, he tells me that I'm 9 ounces out, and I don't get bit. I make another cast, and I catch a 211. And I'm thinking, man, I'm in by 1.5 pounds.
You got it.
Obviously, I jumped up to 17th, 18th place. He sends it in, and I fell a place. And I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, how does that happen so fast? And it just, but that was one of those days. It's funny because the day we fished on our second round was the warmest it had been. And we really hit it right late that evening. They really went to biting.
That's such an amazing event. Like I didn't
watching those on TV is just so cool.
Oh my goodness. I actually a couple years back paid extra for the Outdoor Channel, I think is what it was on then.
You splurged?
I did
like
because I wanted to watch
it's
Major League Fishing.
Yeah, bass fishing.
Yeah.
Your ship came in.
Oh yeah, it was like $3 or something like
Tim,
that. But
can you explain the new format? So if somebody hasn't watched tournament angling for a while, how is this format going for your league?
I think it's just, what came to us to fruition with the guys, looking into doing this. Obviously, we know what all went on last September with guys making decisions to move over and everything. And we had just seen from the numbers ratings, from television, and more importantly, from talking to our fans at sports shows and at various boat shows early in the year, just that was the talk with Major League Fishing and how exciting that format was. And I think that was ultimately Gary Klein's vision, knowing that every fish counts, how much more it would tighten up the standings. And it has done that. And it's just, it's kind of like the Bristol race. I think that's the reason in NASCAR, the Bristol race was so popular, because you had 4 or 5 guys with a chance to win coming down to the end almost every year to go there. And that's kind of what this is.
I love it.
Yeah, it added a lot more excitement.
Yeah, every fish counts. Every fish counts. So, Tim, let's back up a little bit if we could and talk.
Before you do that, I wanted to ask him real quick because it's pertinent to the conversation.
Give Ryan a chance.
What's your
Ryan,
best,
go ahead.
What was your best day?
Recently, as far as this year goes, I don't know if my second day at Toho was better than my second day at Conroe. I can't remember. But as far as overall, it would have been, at Kenansville a few years ago in Texas, I had 88 pounds, 10 ounces.
Cool.
That's where I was hoping to hear a number like that. That's crazy.
Pounds.
Yeah.
That's a whack of bass.
That was on 10 fish.
And it was, it was pretty cool because that was the Major League Fishing World Championship year before last. And we had the similar shotgun round or elimination round where we fished a day, and then the weights carried over into the second day. And I was in last place going into that final day. And I said, man, I'm just going to gamble and get offshore and go to a completely new area. And in our 15-minute ride around, I went over this roadbed, and I could just see them stacked on it. It was just a really cool deal and kind of worked out pretty cool. So
I'll say.
That's awesome. I don't know if I caught 88 pounds last year.
Yeah. But in the interest of fairness, too, like I saw the 2 double screen computer monitors that you got on your boat. Like it's probably easier to see.
yeah, just cut out Netflix if they're not biting, right?
It's a good deal.
My goodness.
That's cool.
Sorry to interrupt you, Stevie. Where
That's
were
all
we
right.
going?
I was hoping to back up
jumping in
and
the time machine.
Yeah, let's jump in the time machine and get a little bit of your a little bit of your history, Tim. What got you started in fishing or the outdoors in general, actually?
My grandfather had a farm pond, and I was just fascinated with going there and fishing all the time as a kid. And my dad carried me a lot of various places, and just he didn't tournament fish, he didn't bass fish a lot, but he just fished, for whatever was biting, whether it was crappie or bluegill or catfish, whatever it was, and that just really got me into it. And then when I was in high school, TNN Outdoors had Bill Dance and Fisherman and, the Bassmasters and all of that. And just watching that block of outdoors every Sunday evening just really fascinated me. And I just couldn't get enough of it. It was just, ideas, once it gets in you, it just bites you pretty good. But
I'll say
that was probably about the time that I really got fascinated with it.
How did you kind of turn that into a professional career?
Well, when I graduated college, it was obviously time to go to work.
Yeah.
And I started a guide business there locally where I live because I knew I wanted to give this a shot. And in the catch-22 in professional bass fishing was, having the funds to go out and do it. You can't get sponsors until you do something. Well, you can't get out there and do something until you got some funds to get out there. So it's kind of a tough deal. And so I started a guide business and was able to get my days off to go fish the tournament trail. And so I was a full-time guide for about 3 years, and then started competing on the the statewide deal, and stepped up to the Bassmaster Opens and qualified for what was then the Bassmaster Top 150.
So it sounds like your entire adult life, like you've been fishing professionally, right?
You just knew you loved it enough that you had to try.
Yeah, and just it's really been fortunate, and man, I think I was just too dumb to know any better. so that's just what I went out there and tried to do. But it was I think it's like anything else. I think if you have that burning desire that's just unquenchable, and you have the work ethic and put your mind to it, that's the cool thing about our sport. If someone loves it and they want to do it, they don't have to be blessed by running a 4.40 or they're hitting a baseball 380 feet. It's all about work ethic and just putting your mind to it, and it can be done. So
it's funny you mentioned that because last week after the tournament,
you run a 4.40.
I have.
I'd like to talk more about that.
Yeah, let's. I think Kim had posted, the day after the tournament there that you were back out fishing. That's kind of the work ethic I think you're talking about.
Yeah, that and being mad at him that I couldn't catch one more. So and obviously I couldn't go out on Lake Conroe. So we went out on a lake close by, and also we were filming as well. But yeah, it's just man, when you get that close and oh my gosh, that just that's almost impossible to explain to somebody what that last. Every tournament that we have fished up until now, not knowing what's going on. And I made a real good run at the end of the day, and normally I'd be thinking, heck yeah, man, what a way to finish. But with my deal, I didn't hit the tape as quick as the next guy to me. It's just one of them deals, and knowing what the score is has changed it as much as every fish counts. I think that aspect of it, and you see what's going through the angler's mind, and the hardest thing to do is to slow down and don't pick your pace up, because if you pick your pace up, you're in trouble, and that's the toughest thing to not do.
Really?
No doubt.
Stevie has never picked his pace up. So
he's ready for Major League Fishing.
I don't know.
You might have a shot, bud. I can honestly say one more cast.
He can catch 100 dinks. I don't know, maybe 88 pounds, but
he doesn't
maybe
really
8.8 pounds.
The only problem is he doesn't fish where the fish are.
That could be a problem.
Does that help? How do you think that this format has changed kind of that whole I know there was a big shakeup, in the bass fishing news there. Has that, do you notice that? Like how is that from your perspective? How has that changed bass fishing in general?
I think this thing is so awesome. I think it's given more opportunity. Here's the biggest thing. I said this on stage at Florida, and to me, this is the biggest thing right here. Okay, if you were a kid coming out of high school the last 10 years or coming out of college and you said, okay, mom and dad, this is what I want to do for a living right here. I can do this. This is what I want to do. You had to have $60,000 to $80,000. You had to, or you put it on a credit card and then a person's in trouble for the next 10 years. Now that's not the case. Now a kid in high school or in college, and Major League Fishing has a feeder system coming in 2 years that is going to allow new anglers to get in to qualify through different scenarios. Now all that kid has to do is to be good enough and to work hard enough and to get feel the right breaks, and he can do it, without having to have just an enormous nest egg sitting there waiting to happen. So I think that's the biggest positive to the shakeup, is that there's just so much more opportunity now. Even the guys that are still over there fishing bass, they're having a great situation with the fact that, their entry fees are basically none with the way they all, kind of get a check, and none of that was the case before the big shakeup. So it's just an awesome scenario all the way around.
Better for everyone.
No doubt. Mm-hmm.
I've got so many questions. I don't know where to start. I'm sorry.
I know everybody's wanting to know this.
Yeah, let's do it.
What is your favorite technique to catch bass?
Man, offshore deep cranking. I love just sitting on one spot and throwing and catching them in schools when they get offshore in the summertime. That's just, man, I get the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it, man. I love it.
That's you're really relying on your electronics for that, aren't you?
Yeah, graphing with Ray Marine and looking around. And I had a guy tell me one time when I first started fishing, those things aren't guessing. And that was some of the best information I'd ever got, and knowing, when to get off a spot, knowing how the fish set up, if they're catchable, just different things like that. But yeah, those electronics are so important.
What Ray Marine product are you using now, Timmy?
The Axiom, the new Axiom that came out. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a monster of a screen, isn't it, there on your boat?
Yeah.
It's a couple of them.
Yeah.
Most of the guys, have the big 12-inch screens now, some of them 16-inch, but yeah, they're pretty big, no doubt.
So when you're deep cranking for these, you're driving around the lake, you're trying to find the schools, and then you just, like, I don't throw a lot of crankbaits, and it sounds like I should, but typically for us, in the summertime, we're dropping soft plastics to the bottom and dragging them slow. But it sounds like that could be potentially not the right technique.
Well, no, it's really relative to the region you live in, and a lot of places soft plastics dominate over cranking. And where I live here on the Tennessee River and in the southeast, a lot of these places deep cranking just kind of dominates, and especially a lake that has a little bit more of a fertility to it, a little bit more stain. The crankbaits can be a lot more dominant. So it really depends on the area.
Do you think pressure has anything to do with one versus the other?
Yeah, it can. Fishing pressure can definitely have a lot to do with it as well, no doubt.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably one of our tougher things here, is because with the exception like the Susquehanna River, when we get into a lot of these publicly accessible lakes and even ponds and stuff in the area, they get fished hard.
Yeah, those places that get hammered, it really... there's no doubt slowing down with finesse techniques are the way to go. There's no doubt.
I don't know if I've seen you throw a whole lot or do a whole lot of finesse fishing. Do you, Tim?
Man, and I'm usually in like 90th place when I'm doing that. But the egg beater and myself are not good friends. It's just, but no, all kidding aside. It's funny, when I first started fishing, that was my favorite thing to do.
Egg beater.
But I've just kind of gotten away from it lately. Yeah. No.
I'm sorry.
That's the only kind I can throw. I can't throw a bait caster.
The egg beater.
Oh my God! You got a bit spinner reel, kind of reminds you of an egg beater.
Yeah,
it does.
I never put that together.
My son's 14 years old, and we pretty much learned bass fishing together here over the last 2 years.
Yeah,
and every rod and reel that we buy, he's buying bait casters. And every time I go to touch it, he scolds me because he knows as soon as I throw one, he's going to have to deal with the bird's nest because I'm terrible at it.
That is too good. I love it. That is awesome. Yeah, usually it's the other way around. Dad saying, "Hey, don't touch it, don't touch it." But he's telling you that. That's pretty good.
Stick with your egg beater, Dad.
Stick with your egg beater. Get Dad, off my boat. That's what he tells me.
Yeah, grab those spinning rods over there, Dad.
Step case.
I'm putting this together. You started out as a guide after college. Then you made your way into being a professional bass fisherman, and then you started Profound Outdoors. And that really kind of, and we'll get to Timmy Horton Outdoors, but how do you have time for that, bud?
I don't.
Yeah.
I ask myself all the time. No, I don't know. I had a change come about. I had worked for Pradco,
you did.
fishing lure manufacturer for, my goodness, 10, 12 years, I guess.
Booyah.
And yeah, booyah, all that stuff. And there's I don't know, for whatever reason, a lot of people work for them and then don't work for them. I don't know. It's just the way it is. Edwin and KVD and a lot of them. But anyway, in 2014, I guess it was, I was about halfway through filming that year, and they just called me up and said, "Hey, we're making a change," and it floored me. I mean, like, I'm just blowing the doors off as hard as I can go with everything I'm doing. And when that happened, I said, that's not going to happen again. And it just really lit a fire under me to start my own deal.
Yeah.
And I'm always been fascinated with designing a lot of product anyway. And building a lure that catches fish has just always been something that I've been fascinated by. So that's kind of where it started in 2014. And I do miss getting those monthly checks from a lure sponsor.
Yeah.
Anymore, but from the standpoint of just being intrigued by designing lures, it's been really cool.
And what types of different lures? I mean, you basically have everything, right? All the this what we would consider kind of the staples of bass fishing.
Yeah, we do. We have the Swampers brand, which you guys were talking about that earlier. It's funny you mentioned that with the history of muscle shoals here. We have Kim and Lauren were riding in the car with me today. We're going to get Lauren something for her car. And we went by that 8475 2nd Street there in Sheffield, Alabama, where the Swamper studio was. And it's funny because that's where, Rolling Stones recorded so much of their music, and the Doobie Brothers, and just you could go on and on. And people would be amazed. That's like a 2-room block building. And people were from Europe and Motown and everywhere were coming here to record. It was just the coolest deal. If you haven't watched that documentary on the Muscle Show Sound, you need to watch it. It's really, really cool if you like me. But anyway, we have the Swampers line of jigs and spinner baits and tungsten and all that stuff. And then Clone is our soft plastics, and the Azuma line, the black boxes as we call them. Mm-hmm. That is our, all of our hard baits, topwaters, crankbaits, all of that stuff. So,
what's your favorite topwater lure?
Mine is I like to walk the dog type lures. Probably our Z Dog. It has that little cup in the mouth. It really throws a lot of water, and I just like the way you can launch that lure too. So yeah, probably our Azuma Z Dog.
Write that down, Deke.
I'm looking at it right now on the website.
He's shopping. He's filling his cart.
That's why he's not talking.
Click.
Yeah, I got deep into profoundoutdoors.com.
Don't do that, because then he's going to have to go fill that order.
He's going to get off the phone to fill the order. Oh.
They're really going to be mad. You wouldn't believe how many orders came in while you were talking to them boys.
Yeah, well, he's got the shopping cart pulled up. Let's just keep talking.
Tell us more of your favorites.
There you go.
I think I may have seen you here in Pennsylvania one year in February at the Great American Outdoor Show. Is that maybe three or 4 years ago?
Is that the Harrisburg show?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I tell people all over the country that with sports shows, and we worked some really good ones throughout the year, but there is nothing you could ever imagine that compares to that Harrisburg PA show. It's just the amount of people there is unexplainable. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's basically right in our backyard here. We were there pretty much every day, earlier this month.
As was everyone else in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, New York.
Yeah, I think I remember Profound Outdoors being talked about there, and I'm all 99% sure. I sat through one of your seminars there at the Hog Tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so Timmy Horton Outdoors, the TV show. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's a different type of fishing show than what I think most people are used to watching.
Yeah, we really, I was talking about the TNN days of in Fisherman, Bill Dance Outdoors, Hank Parker, the Bassmasters, all of it. I can remember, man, I would sit down and watch Jimmy Houston, and it would be a crappie show. And I loved the crappie fish, but it wasn't. I wanted to watch bass fishing. I wanted to learn something. And Roland Martin would be turkey hunting, and I love turkey hunting as well. But I wanted to watch something that I could learn to go out and bass fish.
Yeah.
And that was just something that I always thought, if I ever have a show, I want people to tune in and say, the next time I'm going to go fishing, I'm going to be a little better. And so that's what we try to do with our show, is just teach and really educate. One thing we've held true to, we don't have guests on the show. I think, and I would love to. There's so many great people I'd love to fish with and get out and do shows with, but it doesn't fit our format for what we want to do with teaching. And the second thing is, we fish only on public bodies of water.
Yeah.
And that makes it a challenge sometimes, in the fact that, hey, sometimes we go out to film a show and we don't get one because the fishing's tough, or, maybe the lake that we went to film wasn't as good. I mean, we literally would drive home from a tournament, say, look at the map and say, okay, let's go here and film a show. And to do 26 episodes a year that way can really take a lot of time. But we like what we hear from the fans on it. We really have a lot of fun with it.
It is very educational. I was hoping we were on the same wavelength there. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Well, he's got a lot of information to get across, and like you said, you're not able to really bring those guest fisher people in with you because you're trying to convey all of that knowledge and get that information out there. That's why we have a guest every week.
Yeah, good point. Sometimes 2 or 3.
We need your knowledge.
and hey, that's not knocking that format. It is very entertaining, for instance, to watch Zona, hanging out with Randy Moss or something. To me, I love watching that. It's entertaining. Yeah. But that is Mark sticking to his format. With ours, if we go and we bring a college football coach or Deion Sanders, I think the world of, he loves to fish. He orders our stuff profound, loves to fish with it. But
Deion Sanders likes to fish.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he is.
Really?
He is one. He is one of the best follows on social media too. Give him a look. But yeah, but that would be just like a scenario. Like if we went out and fished together, it would be all day of talking. I want to hear about football stories or locker room stories or baseball stories, and then the next thing we really haven't taught anything. So we've just really tried to stick to that of the purely educational show.
Well, here's what I'd like to do.
What?
I'd like to get a glimpse into how some of that knowledge gets transferred.
Yeah.
Let's say hypothetically spring's right around the corner.
Right.
And, somebody was interested in going to just a random lake.
Right.
And what would be my best approach to try to be successful that day in early spring?
Oh,
I think the biggest thing, one of the first things to me that I always look for is water temperature. That's going to tell me how far along the fish are in the springtime. And then the second most important thing is going to be water clarity. The more stained up it is, the shallower they're going to be. Clear water, if it's warm, you could have them shallow, but you've also got the opportunity for deep fish as well. So that's probably the biggest thing. And that's a great question. And that goes back to what we were talking about on the show. So if I'm out on the show, I'm not going to parlay that into, man, look at this 5-pounder, it's cool. He smoked a Z-Boss 20. That's all well and good.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing is, why was he here? Where was he before he got here? Just trying to, think like the movements of the fish and the reason they're located where they are, and explain that so that people can get out and get to thinking of that when they're out on the water. Because, bass fishing is a huge algebra equation. It really is. You take all the different variables, to discover what X is, and X is figuring out how to catch them, So
yeah,
it really, putting all the variables together to be successful is what's cool. And that's what we try to explain in the show. And as Bill Natt said one time, you're never going to conquer it. It's never a perfect science. And I think that's why we all get out there crazy every Saturday morning at 5 a.m. Still sleeping in, but it's definitely a fun deal.
Do you ever keep a log book so you can kind of, when you do approach a new body of water and you can say it's this temperature and it's this amount of clarity, that you're going to kind of go this direction based on historical data?
I think it just gets to where that is kind of in our head so much of places we've been. And now don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of times that I don't, but I know a lot of guys that do. And there's been a lot of times that I'll get to a tournament that we were at 5 or 6 years ago, and I'll think, okay, we were here in March, but was the water temperature the same? So I can definitely see the benefits to doing that. It's just something I've never done.
So back to Ryan's question, to take that a little bit further, let's say I'm fishing a lake that's in early spring. It's fairly clear. Well, it's more than fairly clear. It's crystal clear, and it's ranges from 30 to 50 foot deep in most of it.
It's cooler temperatures.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Hypothetical question.
I'm gonna go on the Profound Outdoors website tonight and look for a product
when he goes
that could help me be successful on that particular lake. What comes to mind first?
And it's going to change as it gets warmer. But as it is right now with it cold, I'm going to be drop shotting our Darius worm. And that's kind of a catchy name based on, the saying, when we get a bite with soft plastic, you say, hey, there he is. Anyway, and that's called the Darius worm. And something that's a really good one.
I like it.
That Cape Fear drop shot worm is another one. But now as it starts getting around 55 degrees, a lot of those fish are going to start moving shallower, even though it's clear. And I love our Braze jerk bait. It's just phenomenal. It's man, you can launch it. It just has great action, a lot of great colors. That jerk bait is a really good cold water, clear water situation as well.
So here's another situation, same time of year, but this is very stained lake that's more on the shallower end of most of it, under 10, 15 feet.
Mm-hmm.
What am I gonna put in my shopping cart there?
Yeah, I'm probably thinking a lot of the jigs, the Kelly Jordan flipping jig. When you get stained water, those fish are staying a lot shallower.
Yeah.
And I'm just a sucker for throwing a crankbait too. Probably our Square Boss, our Clodhopper, our lure called the Clodhopper has been probably our biggest surprise seller. It's crazy how things go to trending. One thing I have learned in owning a fishing lure company is forecasting is impossible when you're dealing with bass fishermen. It's funny because something will go trending and somebody will do well in a tournament in a region, and you're like, okay, how many pieces of that color did we order? And next thing you know, you're out and it's March and you don't get another one until September. But yeah, it can be crazy. But that Clodhopper has definitely we've sold a lot of those this year so far.
So I'm really glad to have an expert fisherman, an expert lure designer to answer this question, because we as a group here go around and around and around about this a lot.
Strombolis versus calzones.
No, it's not Strombolis versus calzones.
Oh, okay.
That has been settled science there, but
I don't think so.
Color.
Calzone all.
Oh, shots fired there, Mr. Horton. Lure color. Like, do you need
match the hatch?
I understand. So what's more important, color or everything else?
You asking for a friend?
I'm asking for a friend.
Man, that's a tough question, because it's both. Because I mean, you got to be using the right lure. I would say the right lure is the most important.
Yeah.
But my goodness, I can't tell you how many times I've seen it where colors trend, and they do it on lakes that are similar. Like you take the Tennessee River, Lake Guntersville, and Sam Rayburn have very similar water clarities. One's in North Alabama, one's in East Texas, and they really like the shad patterns on the Tennessee River. I mean, the shads, the grays, silvers, white mixed in, and you get in East Texas, and it's all about brighter chartreuse and yellow and blue, and it's just crazy. And you might as well leave the shad patterns at home when you go out in East Texas, to whereas here they dominate. So there's definitely a method to the madness. I tell people all the time, when you go into a Bass Pro Shops or a Cabela's or something, and they're just miles of different colors of all the different lures, there's definitely a reason for it. And I don't know if certain water clarities make things look different underwater to the bass or what it is, but definitely certain colors trigger. And why are reds so popular in the spring and the rest of the year nobody throws them? And that's just the biggest mystery, but they just work. Reds in the spring of the year just dominate. I don't care where we're at. It's just an amazing situation to see how that happens. And then you don't see red thrown again in summer or fall. It's just a very strange thing, but the bass sure let you know, that's for sure.
I was hoping you were going to say, "Nah, man, get green pumpkin and white everything, and you'll be good.
Rule the world."
Yeah, you'll rule the world.
Yeah. Hey, with soft plastics, I would say green pumpkin is sold. Good grief, 7-1 with everything else put together, though. There's no doubt. And that whole
Told you guys.
Yeah, green pumpkin is definitely, and it's one of those rare ones that works good in clear water or stained water. You know, it's just very versatile.
I'd like to shift gears a little bit out of fishing, and I see you post quite a few hunting pictures on.
That's what I was going to shift it into, but I was afraid you're going to get mad at
no,
me. I wanted to talk to him.
You know what? Let's
a little bit about.
We'll back up. We'll let Ryan shift us.
Well, I was just going to say, with all of the fishing talk, and I know Stevie's in his glory right now.
He is.
We are talking.
Tongue-tied.
We are talking to a good old Alabama boy right now, and there's no doubt in my mind, even though I already know the answer. You got to be into hunting some stuff, right?
Man, I won't tell you, I absolutely love it. It's turkey hunting is my favorite. I love the whitetail hunt as well, but and my wife Kim, she loves the whitetail hunt and she bow hunts all the time. But funny story, she saw the biggest deer we had all year this year, and she just became obsessed with shooting that one deer. It was hilarious. You know, buck fever will get you, but yeah, we love it. The whole family, you know, the girls go out with us, and Eli, he got his first, he got his second deer, I think, this year. But it's just a neat family thing that we all do, and just being outdoors is just phenomenal. It's just awesome.
No doubt about that.
Wonderful.
How old are the kids?
We have got them all the way from the 4th grade to a freshman in college, so we're spread pretty good. And it's funny, Eli, he's the only boy, and we got 4 girls, and it's they all love to hunt. Every one of them's different, but they all love the outdoors. A few of them like to fish more than the others, and but it's just a cool thing of being outside. And you know, Kim and I talk all the time. It's our time of seeing them when you don't get distractions from the phones. You know, you don't get all of that other worldly stuff going on. It's just something so therapeutic and wholesome about having the family outdoors. It's just so cool. And to me, that is a bigger part of the hunting side to me than shooting a 160 or something like that. It just I love the family aspect of it. It's something we all go do and just sit in the shooting house. And, you know, I've got Leah beside me for 2 hours, you know, and we're both comfortable and chit chatting about different things. And it's just, you know, it's just something about being in the woods from a family standpoint. It's just incredibly cool.
What is your best tip to get kids into the outdoors, hunting or fishing?
You know, I think the biggest thing is, you know, kind of like what I mentioned. It's not about just killing a 160. I think when you get them out, you've got to know this ain't about me. Like if you get a kid out bass fishing, it's not a day for tournament prep and just serious, you know, hard as you can go at it. It's really a day of, you know, if they want to get minnows and play in the minnow bucket, or if they want to, you know, if you do catch one, put it in a live well, and they want to stay in the live well looking at it and mess with it, you know, whatever it is that they want to do, I think that's the biggest thing, because
see what lights them up and go with that.
Yeah, just roll with it and just have fun. And when they're ready to go, let's go. You know, it's one of those deals. But man, I tell this to people all the time: you will never see a kid with a bobber bobbing up and down that is not intrigued, and it's just a magical deal.
Can you get bobbers at the Profound Outdoors Tackle Company?
we don't
strike
have
indicators.
Strike indicators. No, I think there's a few companies got that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, not a whole lot of ways to differentiate.
I was going to say you haven't decided a way to make a better bobber yet.
Look how much better our bobber is.
Did you get a turkey this past season?
I did, man. Had a good year. Got a couple, and I just love it. So Mark Davis and I, we were talking. He has a place down in South Texas, and Mark's one of the best. You guys have got to get him on. He's one of the best storytellers you'll ever hear.
Nice.
And he is just so cool. It's funny. We all get together and we laugh. We all have a saying: we fish for a living so we can hunt. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the way we are with everything. But just absolutely love it.
That's cool.
So what's next, either for Profound Outdoors or Timmy Horton Outdoors? What's next?
I think you're going to see a little bit more, probably digital shows from us. We've got a YouTube deal we're about to launch. Timmy Horton Outdoors will stay with the television. It's funny because we've seen a trend of television kind of dropping a little bit the last couple of years, but it has been right the opposite of that this year. It was kind of cool to see. Our numbers are way up, and that's pretty cool. But just growing digitally, I think, and some of the quick 2-minute tips, we've really worked hard on putting some of that out.
Those are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
And I think those are what you'll probably see a little bit more of in the future. And then with Profound Outdoors, just finding the next big thing. The Z-Boss was a huge hit for us. It really became the dominant crankbait here on the Tennessee River a few years ago. And we want to find what that lure is, and the jigs and the soft plastics, and whatever the next big thing is. You're always thinking, and what is it going to be? I will never look. I tell you, when the Alabama rig came out, the guy that developed that here was in my hometown, and he went to give me one the June before that winter, where it really happened. And I was like, man, Andy, it looks pretty cool, but do you think that'll work? It looked like 5 clothes hangers put together to make it. And look how that transcended fishing for about 3 or 4 years. It just really was just the coolest thing. And then we've seen that happen with the chatterbait and just a lot of different lures. It's just so cool to think about what's going to be the next big thing. It's just pretty cool.
Have you ever fished in Pennsylvania?
Let's see. I did. I fished the Pittsburgh Classic there.
You did?
On the Three Rivers area. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's hard fishing.
Yeah, it was. I had a good shot at winning that. I think it was third going into the last day and ended up 7th maybe or something like that. But I think Kevin won that one. But yeah, I think that was the lowest winning Classic weight we'd ever had at that time. So,
man, we got to get you smallmouth fishing here on the on Susquehanna River. Yeah,
I've heard it's phenomenal.
Wet waiting for it though.
Yeah, wet waiting. It's,
however you prefer. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, that would I'd make for a good 2-minute.
Do you like smallmouth?
I love smallmouth.
Do you like bass, Tim? You like bass fishing?
Yeah.
Did you ever do any of that, huh?
I'm gonna tell you guys why I let Kim handle my schedule. It's like people will like, hey, let's go do this, or she'll say, he has not took me fishing in 2 years.
Well, she can come along too.
Yeah, please.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe we should invite her and somehow you'll just come along.
That would probably be the best way, no doubt. Yeah.
Tim, we like to close out each episode with 5 questions. We call this a Fast 5, and there's no wrong answers. Just blurt out the first thing that comes to mind.
All right. This could be dangerous.
Oh, no, you're going to nail this. All right, question 1. What are you most proud of?
Oh, my goodness, most proud of. From a fishing standpoint, I would say winning Angler of the Year my rookie year. That was really cool.
Yeah.
From personally, my Fishing for Kids program that I do, we've been doing that 20 years. It's a tournament we do every fall for special needs adults, and it's just, man, it moves me more than it does him, man. I just love it. So
nice.
That's pretty cool.
Great.
Nice.
All right.
So what's one thing that you can't live without in the outdoors?
Oh man, turkey hunting. If I had to quit turkey hunting, I'd probably go crazy. Definitely turkey hunting.
You blindsided me there with that.
Stevie did not see that coming.
No, I'm gonna have to start turkey hunting.
Now he has to retool everything.
I'm gonna tell you, man, it will. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's awesome.
Timmy, what makes you happy? Number 3.
What makes me happy, man? I'm a heavily driven person, and I think just when I like pleasing people, man. When people, do well on their lures, or when things are good at home, and see my kids do things that I'm proud of. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably what makes Kim and I the happiest, seeing that.
That's cool. A good answer.
Yeah. What's one thing you do every day to prepare for your outdoor lifestyle?
Every day to prepare for my outdoor lifestyle. Man, that's a tough one. I wish I had a good answer, like I work out every day or I eat right every day. I don't tell that by looking at my pictures. But What do I do every day? Man, I think this is like silly and maybe a little bit deep, but I think about it every day. Man, I just if I'm not doing it, I'm thinking about it. And I think that is one of the days that my goodness, man, I just look at it and think I am so fortunate that I get up and every day and do this for a living. Is really, really cool. And I don't take it lightly at all.
Right. Awesome.
Final question.
All right.
Bucket list hunting or fishing trip?
Man, bucket list, fishing or hunting trip. I would probably say, my goodness, I don't know. I want to go catch one of those giant groupers. I think that's probably something that I think would be, you just feel like hooking up to the back of a pickup truck and holding on.
Yes.
Yeah.
From like a kayak or from a bridge?
I don't know if I would do it from a kayak.
You see those guys? That's nuts.
Hey, some of those videos you watch of those guys, man, they're sitting there reeling something in, and a big great white comes and takes it from them, and you're at the same level there. I don't know if I want any of that or not.
I like the one where they're catching something and a grouper just ate the.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just massive.
Yeah, shark, whatever.
Like
catch a shark and a grouper eats it.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you a funny story on that. That's like Kim and I were filming down in Florida about this is on land kind of version of the similar deal, but and she launches the boat, and make a long story short, she's parking the boat. Well, I forgot my sunglasses. I'm going back to the truck and get them, and I get about halfway to the truck, and she's getting out, and a giant panther, Florida panther, is walking behind her truck, and I'm like, she's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Look behind you." And and I yelled, "Look behind you." Guys, this animal never broke its pace of its walk. I mean, it wasn't afraid. It like looked over at us and just turned straight ahead and kept walking. Boy, and you feel like, okay, I'm not at the top of the food chain anymore. It's a fun.
I bet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He didn't just walk through; he strutted.
Yeah.
Like, he knew he was in control.
Meow.
Without a care in the world. So anyway, I don't know if I want to be in a kayak with a grouper that could just come up and take the front end. Yeah.
So Tim, there's lots of them, but if people want to follow you, want to learn more about you, want to keep up with what you got going on, man, what's the best ways to do that?
Yeah, we're really heavily on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So at Timmy Horton Bass is Facebook. Timmy Horton _Bass is Instagram. I think the donut folks had that one again.
Such an unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Jeez.
But all kidding aside, we love hanging out. And our fans, man, I can tell you, I can name them. Our top 15 or 20 folks that interact with us on social media that are there every day, and they have questions, and they answer things based on what I love it, man. I love the fans, and that. I think that's probably the most different thing about our sport. We're not so big that you can't walk in a restaurant and enjoy yourself, but we're big enough that you get that fan interaction, and it's just really, really cool.
You're accessible too, and that's really awesome. That's really awesome.
And your show speaks to the fact that you want to help people learn.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I really hope we don't find out that there's a Rutten River Pursuits donut shop somewhere.
Gonna fight us for the.
We're gonna be in trouble. Oh man!
Y'all let me know.
Timmy, we really appreciate you taking some time here with us tonight.
Seriously, it's a good episode.
You got. Hey, listen. Instead of going fishing, man, I'm gonna come in and hang out in the studio and like ask some of these pros some questions. You guys you got it made, man. Y'all are having fun doing this. That's cool.
Hey, 110%.
Any
got
day
our
you
number.
Want. Yeah. Any day you want, come on.
We'll
up.
keep a seat open for you.
Awesome. Good deal, guys.
That's Timmy's seat. Get out of here. Go on, get it.
He's gonna be here one
taken.
day. We've been holding it 6 months. Oh my God.
Again, thanks a lot, Tim. Great episode, a lot of good stuff here. So we'll let you get back at it. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, see you guys. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. How about that, fellas?
That was good.
Good guy right there.
I was really hoping he was going to say, man, you don't need all them different color lures and different.
Just get one.
Just get one.
This is the one you want to order. He thought he was going to tell you exactly what it was.
Yeah. I guess I got to rethink.
The magic bullet.
I'm going to have 20 Walmart bags now. But yeah, no, that was good. That was good.
That was Timmy Horton.
That was Timmy Horton.
Can you? I'm astounded.
What else do you say?
He's a cool cat.
Absolutely.
He is.
Very good dude. Tell you, every like Bassmaster professional, like pro fisherman that I've met
Yeah.
has just been an outstanding person.
Right.
Very down to earth, very approachable.
Yeah.
Just good people.
Definitely.
To be able to, like, what got me was like his history. You know, I'm not sure what his college degree was in, but the day he graduated college, and he's a fishing guide, then a pro fisherman, then starts a lure company. And he's got videos nonstop. Like, man, that's what we all dream of. So
He's on it.
I'm sure it's work, but
You should start taking pictures and doing videos.
you think that'll land me a spot on the Major League Fishing Tour?
I know it will land you a spot on a podcast.
Boom.
How about that?
I already got that.
So, speaking of good people, if you were going to get a whack of jerky and you were like, you know, I'm going to try something new.
But maybe I'd like to order some coffee in the same package.
Yeah.
I think we have a person for that.
We got a dude for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would head over to mfjerky.com.
Go to mfjerky.com.
Fill up our shopping cart. And then,
Use a promo
are
code.
you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
You can get 15% off your entire order by using
Jerky
Jerky Pursuits
Pursuits
15
That's perfect.
as your promo code.
I saw some pictures of the new meat sticks. Nick, what kind of beef sticks do they got going over there?
I think they got the new flavors of spicy and teriyaki.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
And they're keeping the original flavor going
Really?
too.
I bet that spicy is
Hard to beat.
the bomb. All right, guys, another week. But we're not dreaming about becoming a pro bass fisherman,
Or
right?
using one color lure.
Or using one color lure. Where can they find us?
Well, as always, check us out, RuttenRiverPursuits.com. Find us on all of your social media properties like Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
always a
podcast
good one.
itself, always available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yeah. Check out those YouTubes.
And the YouTube channel, of course.
River Pursuits podcast.
Go look for it.
Subscribe.
Quite a few added here recently.
Good show, boys.
All right, guys.
Awesome. Another great week.
Later.
See ya.
See ya.
If someone loves it and they want to do it, they don't have to be blessed by running a 4.40 or they're hitting a baseball 380 feet. You know, it's all about, you know, work ethic and just putting your mind to it, and it can be done. So
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because last week after the tournament,
You run a 4.40?
I have.
I'd like to talk more about that.
Yeah, let's.
the hardest thing to do is to slow down and don't pick your pace up, because if you pick your pace up, you're in trouble, you know, and that's the toughest thing to not do.
Really?
No doubt. No doubt.
Stevie has never picked his pace up. So
He's ready for Major League Fishing.
I don't know.
you might have a shot, bud.
I don't know if I've seen you throw a whole lot or do a whole lot of finesse fishing. Do you, Tim?
Man, yeah, and I'm usually in like 90th place when I'm doing that. But yeah, the egg beater and myself are not good friends. It's just, but no, all kidding aside, it's funny. When I first started fishing, that was my favorite thing to do. But
Beater.
but I've just kind of gotten away from it lately.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm really glad to have an expert fisherman, an expert lure designer to answer this question, because we as a group here go around and around and around about this a lot.
Strombolis versus calzones.
No,
Yeah,
it's
that
not
works.
Strombolis versus calzones.
Oh, okay.
That has been settled science there, but
I don't think so.
color.
Calzone all.
Oh, boy. Shots fired there, Mr. Horton.
Dang.
Swing and a miss there, Ryan.
Way to be 2 months behind, Ryan.
2 steps behind. I like making edits.
Making edits.